Allison Herman couldn't be more thrilled about her baby boy. But just a few months ago, she was overwhelmed, almost terrified.
You really start to think, oh my God, how can I get through this?
Even basic duties like feeding seemed pressure-packed.
I was frustrating because there was nothing I could do to try and make her feel better.
I was practically huddled in a ball in my own house.
As many as 80% of new mothers experience a brief period of moodiness many call the baby blues. But 1 in 5 fall into postpartum depression, a more serious condition that can stretch on for months.
They start to feel like nothing brings them pleasure. Everything is effortful.
What causes postpartum depression is still a mystery. Hormonal changes appear to play a role, but cultural expectations also push mothers to the edge.
A lot of attention gets put towards the baby. The mother kind of gets pushed aside sometimes.
Adding to the stress is the need in many families for women to be both mother and breadwinner.
I didn't know how to split myself into two people to take care of my daughter, who was almost 4, and my newborn son.
There was some tough times at that point.
At her worst, Guzmano began to fantasize about driving her car into a highway divider.
I just wanted to hit that, be injured, and then be hospitalized just so somebody could take care of me. I felt like I had lost myself.
We are educated to this. We do know about it. Why is it still happening?
Many, like postpartum specialist Joyce Venice, blame the embarrassment of seeking help. Experts say almost all women with postpartum depression can be successfully treated. Talking openly to others about their fears and stress is often the best medicine.
It's a very common problem.
Candy Guzmano and Allison Herman now understand their depression is hardly unique. That's been a key to lifting themselves out of despair to focus on what's really important.
This is my life, my child. I'm going to do things the way it works for me and him, because I've realized that that's all that's important, is taking care of us.
On May 17, 2004, Carolyn Brink gave birth to her first child, Zachary.
What do you remember from that time?
Nothing.
You don't remember going into labor?
No.
Giving birth?
No.
Holding your son for the first time?
It kills me, but no, I don't.
Carolyn's upbeat personality completely changed.
It really was like a different person. It was like the person who, I had met and fallen in love with and married was just not there anymore, and she was replaced by this sort of, a shell or a husk of a person that just wasn't the person that I knew.
As Carolyn became more and more detached, her mother, Mary Jane, had to step in to take care of the baby.
It was so foreign to me, I couldn't understand what was even going on. And then I realized somewhere, I'm thinking, does she have postpartum depression?
When Demian and Mary Jane saw a list of symptoms for postpartum depression, it described Carolyn's condition perfectly.
What did she say? What were these things that she was telling you?
We've made a terrible mistake. I don't know why we thought we could have a child. I don't want to do this. This is way too hard.
She actually came down one day and she had a plan for how to give Zachary away to somebody.
To hear that you were talking that way? What do you think?
It's crazy, because that's just not me. That's just not me. I love life.
For the next few months, Carolyn saw a psychiatrist and went on antidepressants.
By this time, that's 2-3 months that we've gone through 3 different medications, and none of them worked. She didn't have any relief from the depression at any time.
She was even threatening to take her own life.
Do you think that those threats were serious?
Yeah, I do.
My son needed a mother, and if I didn't help us all get through this and help her get through it, he maybe wouldn't have one day.
Desperate to find Carolyn help, her family sent her halfway across the country to Dr. David Mrazek at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota.
The family and friends that a woman have are the first line of defense against this depression. So if they see that something isn't right, then they need to pull together and to find a way to get some help.
The Mayo Clinic was the only facility in the world using a breakthrough genetic test called the P450. By analyzing DNA, it measures how well a person metabolizes specific drugs, including antidepressants. It may have saved Carolyn's life.
It's still amazing to me how many psychiatrists haven't really learned about this test.
The very drugs that were supposed to help Carolyn actually were hindering her recovery. But thanks to the new test, doctors at the Mayo Clinic were able to get her on the right medications and into therapy. And after just a few weeks, Carolyn was on the right track.
She called us from the hospital, and she said, I figured out something. And she said, I'm not a bad mother. I knew she was going to be okay from that moment on.
Zachary's almost 3 years old now, and though the time after his birth is still a blank to Carolyn, she's busy making new memories as a full-time mom.
When you look at Zachary today, that same little guy that you told your mom you wanted to give up for adoption, what do you think?
I think he's just the most wonderful thing that has ever happened to me. I'm so grateful to my family that they didn't give up on me. I just think I'm so lucky.
I love you.
I love you, Bear.